You may be running out of time to buy low on the Denver Broncos because while all of the national media outlets are picking us to win 5 games, we're hearing more and more rumblings around the NFL, including an article in the New York Times that are just showing how the sky is truly the limit for Sean Payton and these Denver Broncos. We are going to break down why I am seeing strong buy signs for the Denver Broncos and our competitive rebuild bouncing back to prominence like we deserve to be in. So if you're new to this channel, I'm Ben. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan. Helps me out a lot. If you believe the hype around the Denver Broncos, if you hit that subscribe button, man, if you don't like the Broncos, just click off this video right now. We don't even need you here, all right? So let's dive in. So we just had a big home run derby for a charity event, and Courtland Sutton, who has all the reasons in the world to be bitter with this team because he is very, very underpaid if he is truly a wide receiver one, and there might be a little debate about that, but he wants to get more money out of these Denver Broncos. He might not even show up to training camp, but listen to what he says about just how everybody is sleeping on us and how he thinks that is ridiculous. And then we're going to look at some even further evidence about really how high the sky is for these Denver Broncos. So here he is.
Keep moving forward. That's the biggest thing. Our biggest priority is getting ready for this upcoming season. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. We got a really good team. We got a lot of really good young guys. A lot of good guys that are returning that have been on the team over the past few years. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen this upcoming season. I think that we're gonna go out there and shock a lot of people based upon how they put our schedule out there and not giving us that many primetime games. I don't think that people are expecting a lot from us, but we know what we got in our locker room, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year.
Shock the world, he says. We know what we got in our locker room, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We see the Denver Broncos only having 2 primetime games this upcoming season. Massive disrespect there. We just see what the Vegas line is on the Denver Broncos. Over-under is 5.5, which is absolutely ridiculous. I do not see a world where Sean Payton actually regresses. If you look at just what the NFL thinks about him, people are high on him outside of the Denver Broncos facility. So then looking at other reasons to be massively hopeful is this was a graphic just tweeted out the other day that had the number of games lost by 3 or less points over the past 2 seasons. And really, you're talking about a missed field goal here, like a weird turnover here, a blown coverage here. And looking here that the Denver Broncos over the past 2 seasons, it's not like, other than that Miami Dolphins game, it is not like we've been just getting blown out or shellacked, that we are losing close games. And it is those losses of close games that can easily flip the next year. And when the NFL all comes down to who is the better coach, we have Sean Payton, who is one of the best offensive coaches in the league. And so you just know those things are going to even out over time. If the Denver Broncos were constantly losing games 70-20 like we did to the Dolphins, I wouldn't be high on them. But the fact that we have lost so many close games over the past 2 seasons really shows that the sky is the limit for the Denver Broncos. Next thing, this is the thing I teased in the intro, was that the New York Times and The Athletic wrote an amazing piece about our ownership group. And I think this is something that we just cannot overblow as Broncos fans. Like, we've got to keep remembering this, that when you have the richest owner in all of sports, good things are going to happen because they, if you own Walmart, you're not used to losing at anything you do. And they understand building systems. They understand making changes. And I just want to point out a couple of my favorite parts of this article. Is that even just from the start, when they made the decision to buy the Denver Broncos, these mega wealthy people, they have their eyes on all the franchises and all the sports, and they're like, oh, I think in a couple of years, there's going to be an expansion team in Vegas in the NBA, and we could buy that. And like, they have their eyes out, and they're thinking 5-10 years down the road. They bought the Broncos because they saw our potential was through the roof, and they were quoted as saying that. And then right from the jump, we have Leach, who kind of left the league offices and had a cush job in the league offices, and he came to the Denver Broncos to kind of oversee the business side of things because he saw that potential for the roof. And right in his first couple of weeks, he gets a call from Greg Payton, or Greg Penner rather, and he's like, hey, we're about to drop $100 million on the stadium, so can we figure out a way to do that? They put in brand new Thunder Vision, like that awesome scoreboard. We know that they've like redone the field multiple times after concerts. Like they're just dropping crazy money. We know at the end of every NFL season, they give out a survey to all the players about like, hey, what was it like playing for this coach, and what was your favorite part? What didn't you like about, playing for the Denver Broncos this year? And the Denver Broncos scored off the charts on so many things. And one of the worst franchises in the league was actually in our division in the Kansas City Chiefs, and they just dogged that entire organization. And so that's great. So we obviously rolled out new uniforms almost immediately. That is a 2-year process, and they got that kicked off right away. And while the reviews on that were mixed, the more we actually see it on players, we realize how fire those uniforms are, and they're like really cool. Obviously, we know they're dumping a ton of money into a new weight room and a new training facility, and then they kicked the can down the road a little bit on that so that we could go and enjoy Broncos training camp this year. And so I have not seen them make a bad move yet since they got here. And, you really let me know in the comments, what's a bad move they've made since they got here? They truly haven't. And then the author of this, who covers all sports for The Athletic, said, hey, it's not just like they're going kind of fast. It's a Usain Bolt type jet setting out of the block. Like they hit it hard running right away. And then Leach said, hey, this is unique. And when I talk to other presidents around the league, all of my peers are like, hey, you're doing a lot of really cool stuff. And hearing that other team presidents in the league look to the Denver Broncos and are like, man, I wish I had the richest owner in sports, because imagine what we could do. So all the fan experience, all the off the field stuff, like that's super cool. But the thing is that Greg Penner clearly understands that it all starts with winning on the field. And he goes into that. He had a cool interview the other day with Dave Logan. Here's a picture of him. Dave Logan's still looking good. I can't believe I've been listening to that guy since middle school, and he still looks incredible. Love Dave Logan. I think my favorite thing is Dave Logan, Super Bowl 98 against the Packers, and he's like, you can stand up and salute in Denver because the world champions live in your city, and it still gives me chills to hear that call. But he says, hey, we have to be football first. Our objective is to win football games on the field. And he goes on to say, I need the fans to know we understand and we get their frustrations. We're just as impatient to win as you are. And that he knows that winning goes into, it's a year-to-year league, and winning is all about establishing a winning culture by having the right people on the bus, getting them in the right seats, and then giving them everything they need to drive the bus. And he has done that with Sean Payton. He feels like he's got the right driver of this bus, and the sky is the limit. Give the people the resources and build a culture, and that is exactly what this ownership has done. And I think that is why the Denver Broncos are going to be a problem, not just next year, shocking some people like Courtland Sutton said, but we are here to win from now on. We're ready to be back to the franchise that I grew up with in middle school, where we were the playoffs every single year and we were making deep runs. And I think that is what we have. Other reason we're going to be a massive problem. I just saw this floating around on Twitter and it blew me away. And this is the salary cap rankings and the percentage of your salary cap that single players are taking up. Obviously, if you have a superstar who's taking up all your salary, you cannot build around them. That was my biggest problem with Russell Wilson, is that because he was eating up so much of our cap, we couldn't build an awesome team around him. Well, looking here at this, now that we have eaten the bulk of the Russell Wilson mess, and that is off of our books, we have the very smaller chunk next year, and we know the salary cap is going to go up, so we are in very, very good cap space there. Just looking here, how far you have to scroll down until you look. You're looking, Joe Burrow is eating up almost a quarter of the entire salary cap there. Man, these pop-ups are the worst. Well, let's go back. So Joe Burrow eating up a quarter of your salary cap. Like you can't build it. And now we know that he's got two wideouts in Chase and Higgins who both want to eat up even more of that. That's bad news. You look at Josh Allen's eating up 23%. The reason that the Chargers had to move on from Keenan Allen and get nothing back for him in return, move on from Mike Williams, get very little back for him in return, is because all of their money is here. Lamar Jackson, same thing. You look at Patrick Mahomes eating up a big chunk of their cap, and then we know Kelsey's eating up a big chunk, and Chris Jones is eating up a big chunk. How are you going to build around them? And you just got to scroll so far down. obviously, we know that this year we need to sign Pat Surtain and Quinn Meinertz, and so they're going to be up here, but we are in a very, very good salary cap situation for the future, and we're competitive today. We're hearing that from Courtland Sutton. You're hearing that from Sean Payton, and I just think the Denver Broncos are truly, truly going to be a serious, serious problem. Saturday when I'm recording this, but not sure exactly when it is going to drop. So I want to take a quick second here to all the dads out there and say Happy Father's Day, and a special Happy Father's Day to my dad, the GOAT of dads, the greatest of all time. Dad, you raised me to be a lot of things and have integrity, and I appreciate you forever for that. And how you raised me in the faith and everything. I just can't say thank you enough for that. And also for making me a diehard Denver Broncos fan since I can remember the first time I saw my dad yell at the TV, and now I yell at the TV all the time as well, watching you pace back and forth and taking me to all the games for all my favorite sports growing up, and just making me love the city of Denver and love being a Nuggets fan, a Broncos fan. And I jumped on Rocktober, but I don't even really like baseball. And pretty amazing. And then obviously I too am a dad and trying to raise my kids right as well to grow up and be Broncos fans like all of us. So to all the dads out there in Broncos country, you have a huge impact on your kids, and thanks for all you do. Happy Father's Day. And Broncos are going to be a problem. Bo leave.